Hello everyone. Hello, hello. I think there is still some time left. 4 minutes. I'm a bit early. I'll wait for you guys and hopefully some people will show up and then we will discuss what you can do to ace Duolingo English test with the knowledge you have right now. So that's the main purpose of this live discussion. Of course, you can do a lot of things to improve your English, to improve your vocabulary, speaking skills, listening skills, reading skills, everything. But this podcast is especially for those people who are stuck at the borderline of the score they want. For example, if you want 110 and you are stuck at 100 or 105, and how you can get the score you want. So, with the existent knowledge, how can you increase your score so that you get what you want or what is required of you? There are two people here. If you can just say anything in the chat so that I know that there are people who are listening. And if there are some people here, then I would start giving you the tips and tricks and strategies you can use to get a higher score. So there is a chat button. If you can just say anything, I'm going to say hi, everyone. So you can respond to that if you're here. I can see two people here, but I'm not seeing any activity. There are still 2 minutes left, so I think maybe it's a good idea to wait. And while we are waiting, I would just like to talk to my listeners, if anyone is listening. Duolingo English Test is one of the easiest test in the uh, English proficiency tests. I have personally taken IELTS and I have taken Duolingo as well long back. I have never taken TOEFL, and the reason for not taking TOEFL is that I didn't like it. I mean, I looked at the material and I didn't feel comfortable with that format of testing. Of course, some people prefer that, and I respect it, but it's just that it didn't work for me. Recently, I heard that there is another type of test. It's called ITAP. I haven't looked into it, but Duolingo, personally, I feel is the most straightforward one, and there is a lot you can do in it. If you do tactfully, you can easily improve your score by 5 or 10 marks. So it's two. I'm going to start. If you can just uh, um, show your presence by saying something in the chat box. Is there anyone here? Okay, let me check again. I can see one person, but I don't really see who is here unless you say something. Okay, no one is here now. So I'll still wait for the people to join. Another person has come. If you can just say something so that I can start. Okay, let's start. In Duolingo English Test, the first section is read and select. So the very first task in the first section is um, to um, to recognize the real English word. And they show you a list of words. Some words are real English words and some are not. So the trick is, I would say the rule number one is if you don't know the word, simply say no. Only say yes to the words which you know, which you have heard the words and you have read them and you are confident that they are the real English words. Another thing you can look into those words as well is that check the spellings. Sometimes there is a slight mistake in the spelling, so which makes it not a real English word, even if it looks like. And do it quickly. If you're sure that this is an English word, say yes and move next, because the quicker you do, more questions you will get. And if you get more questions, you have a better chance of improving your score, because remember, in Duolingo, there is no negative score. So the first step is for the first section, which is this a real English word or not? Do them as quickly as possible and say yes if only if you know the word. If you don't know the word, simply say no and move on. So the trick is that you get as many questions as possible so that you have higher chances of getting high score. I would again remind you that there is no negative score in Duolingo English Test. The next section is fill in the blank section. For that section, I have made a complete video on tips and tricks. But if I have to quickly tell you what to do, is that read the whole sentence. Read the whole sentence with a blank, because when you know the context, then you can guess the word. Of course, it's a guessing game, but it will be an educated guess. If you have read the whole sentence, somehow it will, the real word will come to you. Then another thing is that sometimes you have to put the plural. Of course, the sentence tells you the formation of the sentence, that if you should put a plural here or not. But the other trick is that if the singular word seems right, but there is a space left, it means that there has to be a plural there. So that is one technique. The other technique to do the fill in the blank section is that if you have any idea about the parts of speech, you should know that what part of speech should come there. Should it be a noun, verb, or adjective? I understand that it might be hard for some people, but um, the if you ask me one thing to do, that is read the whole sentence, write the word there, check spellings, and move on. Again, there is a range of questions you get there. If you do it quicker, you can get to do more questions. And if you're doing more questions, of course, there are chances that you will score higher because you have got more questions and there is no negative marking in it. The next section is very interesting section, and that is mixed language skills. Now, this is the section where if you pay a little bit more attention, you can definitely score way higher. Now, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks. Sometimes you get certain text written and you have to simply read it. So one thing is that try to read uh, that text as naturally as possible. Don't spend too much time before pressing the record button because usually the time is not a lot. You can talk slowly, say the words clearly, and another top-notch uh, tip is that if there is a comma, take a pause there. Slightly raise your voice and then take a pause. For example, if it is like start a course, comma, in which AI uh, integration is required. So after a course, there is a comma. So you will read it like that. Start a course, like you're increasing your voice. Then you have a pause, and after that, you continue your sentence. And at the end, drop your voice because these are the pronunciation skills. If you read it like that, you will sound more like a native speaker, or you will sound natural and you will get a higher score. Then there are in mixed language skills, there is a listening section in which the speaker is saying a sentence, sometimes a shorter sentence and sometimes a longer one, and you have to write it. Now, this one is very, very important. The same trick you will apply. Take care of punctuation. Always start the sentence with a capital letter, and where the speaker pauses, you should know that you should put comma there. So even if you are not a master of punctuation, you can impress your examiner by putting the comma when you are writing, right? So when you are listening to an audio and you write it down, you put the comma wherever there was a pause. Then continue. And if it is a statement, don't forget to put the period in the end and question mark if it's a question. So these are comma, period, and question mark. These are very, very basic punctuation rules. So you should not go wrong with that. You can pretty much control it. Another thing, once you have written, try to read it so that you can correct if there is a spelling mistake. Another tip is that if you have, if you are listening for the first time and you write whatever you heard, don't shy. If you missed a word, don't shy away from writing the next word because whatever you have written, you can always listen to that audio again and correct. Now, here is a trick here. If you don't need to replay your audio 3 times, don't do it. Because if you play once and you get it right, you will get a higher score, or I'll say the highest score. If you play twice, you will still get higher score. If you uh, hear it thrice, you will get good score if you get it right. But you know, some the score will go down. So the idea is that you try to get it right uh, in less number of attempts. Now, if I have, you have to make your decision. For example, you're not sure and you heard it once and you think that maybe it is correct. In that case, I would definitely play it again because it's better to play it 3 times and get it right. You know, the first thing is that you should get it right. The first thing is the accuracy, and the second thing is the speed. So always keep that in mind. So this in mixed language skills, the listening and speaking parts, they have a lot of scope for you to slightly to get a higher score, even if your English is not great. Now again, for the listening section, pay attention how the speaker is saying the word. For example, are they saying they have or they've? They have or they. So if they say they have, then write full they have. And if they said they, then write they, apostrophe and VE. Like if there is a, if they say in a contracted form, then write in the contracted form as well. Don't worry to take notes because once this um, podcast is over, then I will upload the video. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can ask me and I will be happy to answer those questions. Now, again, in mixed language skills, there is a section in which you have to fill in the blanks. So, like there is a paragraph and there are quite a few words which are missing. For that, my first recommendation is read the titles. You should be aware that what this text is talking about, even if it is an alien topic. You don't know about the topic. For example, some machine learning or some medical terminology. Don't worry about that. Just read the title and the full sentences they have written, because in some of the blanks they you might have to write one of those technical words, and you can know that by looking at the unfinished word. Okay, so when you look at the unfinished word, you will know that this is the word they have already talked about. Hi, Sandra. So that is one technique. The other technique to do the fill in the blanks in that paragraph is that look for the shorter words. For example, where you should be putting the, and, of, to, um, prepositions, basically. So those ones are easier to fill in, and, etc. And once read the whole paragraph and try to fill in whatever comes in your mind. Don't worry about the harder words. Think about the harder words, because for those fill in the blanks, you get quite a lot of time. So try it once, twice, three times, but don't spend the whole time. If you think that there are few words you don't know, then maybe they are best kept blank, because so that you can increase your speed and go to the next question. This way you will also get more number of questions, and your chances are to get a few more questions correct increase, and you can improve your score that way. So now we are done with the mixed language skills section, and next is the reading section. So in first you have to fill in the blanks by clicking on different options. That can be a bit tricky if your English level is not that high, but don't worry. Just read the text and try. If you know what the word should be, if you have some idea, great. If you have no idea, then read it with different words. For example, if it is look at, look after, look down, look up, what seems right, because everything is in context. Okay, Johnny, sir. There's nothing in the screen, to be honest, because I uploaded Duolingo English Practice Test number 13 today, and there were few students who wanted just some quick tips and tricks. So I decided, rather than answering individually to everyone, I thought that maybe other people have the same question. So I just came here without much preparation to talk to you guys and give you the chance if you have any questions. So I'm just giving you a brief, but then, because I have a lot of experience with Duolingo English Test, that's why I'm going through all the sections one by one. I'm thinking on top of my head. I remember actually all the sections, but if you have any questions now while I'm talking or afterwards, you can ask me. Okay. So I was talking about the reading section. So you see the context is very important. So you have to read the whole thing and see that what might fit better. So once you have done that, when you go to the next question, what happens is usually there is a gap, there is a blank, and then on the side there is a list of different statements, and they ask you what will fit there. So usually the best technique to find the best sentence to fit there is that you read the last sentence before the blank. And if you go to my practice test, you will see that I have used that technique. And whatever new thing they have introduced, new topic, for example, they talk about a consultant. We hired the consultant, and then in one of the options it is that the consultant is who does this. So that will be your answer, because in the sentence before the blank they introduce something, and or even if they haven't introduced it, they're talking about something, and the next sentence will be definitely related to that. So anything which can fit afterwards will be your correct answer. The questions after that are pretty simple. They ask you questions from that text. So you simply read the question carefully, go to the text, read it, and then select the answer. You simply have to select, and that will come in the blank. They ask, by now you have read that text quite a few times, so they know what they're talking about. So one of the questions usually you get is that there is a list of options, and they ask you what they talked about in this text. So if you have read it a couple of times, you will know. So carefully choose that option, and in the end, they ask you about the title or the main idea. So the title or the main idea is usually in the first sentence of the text. So read the first two sentences carefully. So of the any of the options which have something which was written in the sentence one, that will give you the title or the main idea of that text. Usually, in one question, they ask about what idea uh, has been discussed in this passage is or the conclusion, that you will find in the last sentence. Uh, and then is the listening section, in which they give you a situation. For example, they give you a situation that you are friends with someone and you have been hired by a professor as a part-time teaching assistant. So now you have to fill in the blanks in the conversation. So if and then they will play the audio and you have to answer. So this is listening and speaking together. Or you can say that it's about having a natural conversation. So in that one, if they play the audio first and you have to reply, of course, you have to apply it accordingly. But my strongest tip is, because you have to summarize this conversation in the end. So take notes that what when they tell you what this conversation is about, because that you can write in the summary, and you don't get much time to summarize. I think it's about a minute or 75 seconds, which is not a lot. You'll be writing about 3 sentences at max. So first you should note down what the situation is, and what is the conclusion of that situation. So if someone is, then they will play audio, someone is talking, and you have to choose the best response. So that is very easy too. So you listen to someone, and then, for example, if someone is saying that the teacher is really punctual, and in the responses there is no problem or thank you, so of course you are not going to choose that. So but if the response is yeah, and then say something, then of course you can choose that option. Or if a response says that, oh, I have no idea, I don't know, then you can choose that too. So that is one technique. And as I said, that it's very, very important that you keep in mind or take few notes about that conversation, because you have to summarize it in the end. So you can say in the end that this conversation was between these two people. They were talking about this. This is how they were feeling about this conversation. And that was the conclusion. So simply, like, who were the characters, what they were talking about, and what was the result of that conversation. So you should focus on these three main things. And after that, there is section in which you have to describe a picture. Uh, in one picture, you have to describe while you talk, and another one you have to write about it. So for both, there are few words. For example, you can say the picture depicts or the picture illustrates. You just, for example, if there is a red car in the backdrop of a vast field, so you can say that the picture depicts, or picture represents, or picture, um, shows. Show will be a bit more simple word, but try to use uh, bit high level vocabulary. You can memorize those words. This picture depicts luxury car, which is red in color, in the background of a vast field. You can see the uh, majestic clouds in the background. So, just memorize a few words. Majestic to show something like, huge, or depicts or represents or illustrates just to show the picture. So you can go through one of a couple of my practice tests to know what kind of language you can use. And then there are um, speaking sections and writing sections. So those are the standard, um, I would say, standard techniques required sections, because whenever you are talking about something or you're writing about something, no matter what the topic is, always think that you are going to tell a story. So what is a story? Story is a flow of events, so it should have a flow. So it should start somewhere, have something in the middle, and then end. So I think that whatever level you are at, if you can follow these advices, you can definitely improve your score by 5 or 10. So if I have to recap, I will say that the first section, is it a real English word or not? If you don't know the word, simply say no and move on quickly. Save the time so that you get more questions, and chances are higher that you will get more questions correct. For fill in the blanks, read the whole sentence before making a choice and check the spellings. For mixed language skills, for the speaking text, always pause where there is a comma. Put the period at the end of the statements, question mark at the end of question mark, and always start the sentence with a capital letter and check your spellings. Uh, for the writing section, when you listen and write, wherever the speaker is pausing, put the comma there, and again take care of the punctuation. When you are speaking, wherever there is a comma, take a pause. Then comes the that fill in the blank section. Again, read everything. There might be some answers which are all the about the words which are already written in that text. And for the described picture or even the questions, as have some words ready for you to use, some high level vocabulary words. And For writing and speaking, always tell a story. I wish you all the best. If you have any questions, please ask. You have 5 minutes to ask me a question. If there is no question, then I will just wish you all the best and then I will leave. Now over to you all. If there is any question, please write in the chat box and I would be happy to answer you. Johnny sir has been writing that your video is blank. I already answered that. Yes, it is blank because I just came here to talk to you guys. So I don't have any PowerPoint presentation or anything ready to show. Anyone else? Any other question? All questions are welcome, and remember, no question is a stupid question. So no matter how simple or naive your question is, don't hesitate to ask. Okay, looks like no one has a question. So I wish you all the best. I will upload this conversation live. So if you want to revisit it, you can. And have a very nice day. Bye bye.